Look at that. Tight, packed well, no air in there. That is awesome. Hey guys, in this episode, we are going to be unboxing a Vevor chamber vac. And I originally reached out to them because I was just looking for a vacuum sealer, and they said, hey, you know what? We're going to send this to you. You can check it out. We're going to do some fun tests today. But first, let's unbox this. So the big question is, what's the difference between a vacuum sealer and then a chamber vac? With a normal vacuum sealer, you know, you're going to put part of your bag in. It's going to attempt at sucking all the air out that it can. And then with a chamber vac, it's pretty unique in that inside the whole chamber, all air and oxygen is removed. I still don't even know how it works. I've watched tons of videos. We'll do it, we'll look at it, but it's pretty epic how it works. So I definitely can't wait to try it out. Ooh. Now, one thing you will notice is it's a lot more bigger than just a normal vacuum sealer. And that is, again, these are just how they work. One thing I like about Vevor products is they are packed away very, very nice. Now the big question is, how do we get it out? Can you just lift? No, I think I can actually just, yep. Okay, so here she is all unboxed. And if you're on the fence deciding whether you want to get a regular vacuum sealer and or are considering getting a chamber vac, definitely the chamber vac is the way to go. So far, I've had about a few days to play with it, and it is just so awesome at all the things it can do. It removes all the air, whereas a regular vacuum sealer, it's just going to try to pull out as much air as it can. This gets the job done. So let's look inside, let's get some measurements, and let's try it out. So down here is where you're going to have all your kind of dial controls. That is going to set the vacuum time. You have the sealing time, and then you have the cooling time. And then you have a few other options as far as if you want a single seal, a dual seal. We'll get into that in a bit. But one thing I really like is this little arm right here is mainly just when you're storing it. But it's really cool how it operates is the lid self-opens. Once you're actually vacuum sealing something, it holds the lid in place, so you don't have to hold down the lid. And then once it actually, oxygen comes back into the air chamber, it does two things. It will suck. You'll see this crazy vacuum in the bag or in a jar, and then the lid will pop open. So it's a very, very cool effect. Boring as heck me talking about it. Once you actually see it in action, it is pretty cool. So let's get some measurements. So the inside chamber, you're looking at about 13 inches. And then this way, I would say it would be about 13 by 13. Now your seal bar, obviously you're going to want to get a bag that will fit the seal if you do plan on that. So this one, technically you could probably get away with a foot long seal. I actually found some bags, I believe they are 11 by 13, and that is definitely going to have enough space so that if I did want to actually use the vacuum seal bags, they will fit in there, and they're super cheap. I will put a link on Amazon for the ones I got. I think it was like $250 in a pack. So with the lid open, we can flip the switch here on the side. And now this is going to turn our controls on, and then the controls will pretty much stay at your last settings. Once you have something in the vacuum chamber, you close the lid down, and you have to hold onto the lid for maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and it's already starting a vacuum. After that, you can let go of the lid, and then pretty much it kind of just takes care of the rest on its own. So the first thing we're going to try out is a mason jar. So I'm going to remove this riser. That's going to give us a little bit more space actually in the chamber vac. And I have here, this is a mason jar, and this is, you're going to have your lid right here. Your lid's going to go up, and if you press on the top here, that's just showing you, you know, there is no seal and whatnot. But Now what we're going to do is close it down. And so again, you got to hold the lid for, about 5 seconds or so. Then at that point, you can pretty much let go. And then you're seeing down here, kind of like the countdown timer and whatnot. But what's really, really cool is you get to see inside here kind of what goes on. So for the first literally 35 seconds, it doesn't look like the jar is doing anything. And right now it's doing a seal, but obviously we don't have anything to seal. But watch what happens to the top of the lid. So here is, that jar is sealed. And we're not talking a loose seal either. That thing is tightly sealed. So you can listen to the sound. Now, mind you, I'm giving a lot of effort. There you go. So a tight seal. Now, the benefit of that is if you're making your own barbecue sauces, you can store stuff in here. Another example would be storing like some rubs and stuff like that. I know that whenever I crack open, a fresh bottle of barbecue rub, start using it, because of oxidization, that rub will start clumping together, and it just, you have to take a fork in there, try to break it up. But then if you kind of store your rubs in an airtight container, well, then you kind of never have to worry about that again. So let's try that out right now. So I'm going to put some rub in here. I'm going to put on just like that. That is just wicked cool. So right now, our seasoning is in an airtight chamber. So this is never going to clump up. And so as far as freshness goes, this is going to stay fresh a lot longer. I believe you can definitely get, I think, 9 of these at once. So you don't actually have to do it one at a time. But definitely that is sealed up. And then once that's sealed, can just put a lid on it, and then she's ready to go. So here I have, this is some fresh sausage that I made the other day, and now we are going to seal it up. So got the bag right in here. One, two. We're going to lift this bar up, slide this just like so. Now we're going to close it. Look at that. Tight, packed well, no air in there. That is awesome. All right, now let's talk about soups and liquids. So the cool thing about liquids is, unlike a regular vacuum sealer, it's just going to pull all that moisture to the seal. With the chamber vac, it will actually just keep the liquid in place. So whether you're doing soups or stocks, you can pretty much have it just like this. The only caveat is you want to make sure that the liquid is room temperature or cold, just because with the vacuum seal, the liquid inside will start to boil if it is warm. Even at room temperature, you will see it boil at the end. So yeah, let's see how this does. And voila, we have, and then there is no liquid that made it past the seal. And so there we go. And then the cool thing is, when you're storing this, say if you want to put it in the freezer, everything will lay flat. So you can actually, when it comes to freezer space, you can actually save space by doing this. Now that was pretty cool, and not to sound like an infomercial, but wait, there's more. I've seen chamber vacs used for so much more. Whether you are traveling, you can actually put your clothes in the vacuum bags and it will basically get all the air out so you can travel. And you know how sometimes when you're traveling and you're like trying to fit, a few extra shirts and socks and underwear and you're like, I don't have any room. Using a chamber vac can actually help compress your clothes. I also seen people, they'll take, pair of socks, underwear, toilet paper, and then vacuum seal that and put it in their car for emergency uses. Now, if you're into making marinades, where the chamber vacuum really works is, say you're marinating chicken or steak. Once it's actually in the vacuum process, pretty much all the pores actually open up in the meat. And so that marinade will actually get a lot deeper when you're marinating either your chicken or your steak. And then once it actually seals it in, it's holding that liquid all around. So you can actually quicken your marinade times if you wanted to use the chamber vac for marinating purposes. Definitely going to come in handy now that I know how to make sausage. A lot of trimmings that I save, it just makes it so much easier to start collecting the trimmings and then quickly sealing them up. And so this thing is going to be put to a lot of use. Can't wait. I will put a link in the description so you can check it out. And I believe I also have a discount code if you are actually interested in the Viver chamber vac. I would say my only downside to this is its size. So when it comes to storing it away, you definitely have to make space for it, but definitely will run circles around any of the vacuum sealers out there. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Grill Sergeant out.